Welcome back, motherfuckers. This is episode 4, 3, 5, 5 or 4.
435, yep, that's right.
But this is a
3-5.
Halloween special, which probably won't be that special, let's be honest.
No, not really massively Halloween. Not one of us picked a Halloween film. We did pick horror films.
Well,
Kind
Liz, but then
Not
there's
horror
like,
films.
everybody's got to do a Halloween film eventually. Well, I mean, technically, we've done a John Carpenter film, and he done Halloween, so technically it still counts.
I mean, we can say whatever we want, man. It's our nobody can stop us saying it's a Halloween podcast. We won't get like sued by the Halloween Corporation.
Well, I mean, we could. Oh,
Yeah, every year I would do a Halloween game, and never once were they anything to do with Halloween. It was just vaguely horror.
they're actually making a Halloween game with Michael Myers, which I thought was going to be pretty cool, but it'll probably be shit like the last couple of games we got, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and that.
Is it going to just basically be like a Friday the 13th game?
Yeah, I think it's just going to be like Dead by Daylight, but just Michael Myers.
Except with much less killers and not as much going on. Yeah, that sounds worthwhile, yeah.
Pretty much.
Okay, cool.
But before we even start off with our first films, well, the films we've seen, I thought we may as well just say some of the stuff that's been happening in now. But I mean, technically, this has become a horror, and it's Joker 2, because it has flopped so badly.
Ooh. See, before we talk
I've
about
not
Joker
seen
2,
Joker 1.
I was going to say, who's all seen Joker 1? So Sally's not seen Joker 1. Which came out, what, 4 years ago or something?
So no, 2020?
List.
Let's find it. Right, let's guess. Joker, when did that come out, Sally? When did you think?
21.
2020.
Okay, Logan? 2019.
Oh my
Pre-COVID.
god.
So you can be forgiven for thinking it was it was not as long ago, because obviously COVID was a very strange 2 years. 2019. I went to the cinema to see it because everyone was raving about it, and I thought it was fucking terrible. I have no idea why it done well. It was like somebody watched a Martin Scorsese film and then forced the Joker into it, and it's like why? There's already those films exist and they're better.
Well, he was a director, I'm sure. Or was he like maybe a producer?
There was some way he was connected. There was like a producer or something, but like it was very clear what the influence was. And there was like nothing. There was not one part of it that was like interesting.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, we're gonna make the Wayne family kind of shitty. All right, cool. Oh yeah, look, and yeah, Zazie Beetz in it, but she's not really as good. Like, did you see that coming like a mile away? Like, that's clearly not his girlfriend. Zazie Beetz is clearly not going out with elderly Joaquin Phoenix. Like, that's not happening. That was fucking just a bad movie from start to finish. And people were daft in it. Oh, bad.
But he had a man that I just completely.
He did, yeah.
Because
his mum pretended that what's Bruce Wayne's dad called? It's Thomas Wayne.
Aye.
Pretended that was his dad, and she was a cleaner, and he'd pumped her and got her pregnant. It just turned out it was like lies, and she was mental.
I completely forgot all about that. Like that, just that sequence. It's so dumb.
Yeah. It's a bad movie. Alfred's in it as well, and Alfred's rubbish in it, which is really weird because Alfred's like a badass, and like he's just like a kind of fat guy in that. It's like, oh, so they've made Alfred rubbish, and they made the Joker kind of sad. Although they have explicitly stated the Joker in that movie is not the Joker that goes out to fight the Batman, mainly because he would be in his 70s by that point. So like it'd be really weird watching 6'3", 250-pound Batman beat the shit out of a 70-year-old man. So you know.
Well,
anyway, bad movie, which done well, so good for them.
Joker 2 just don't know what the hell happened there.
Everything. I've no intention to watch. Eventually, I don't even know if I'll watch it. But I was excited about it. I thought having Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn would actually be really exciting. I thought she's going to bring something to that character. She'll be good. And instead, they don't do that. They just seem to make a bad film. Oh, that's weird. Because I even think it would work as a musical.
There was a lot of stuff they cut out. So like the first trailer, you've seen a lot of like Lady Gaga scenes in it, and it turns out there's not a lot of her stuff is in it. So it looks like they just cut basically like a good 50% of her screen time already. Because one of the interviews, someone asked Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga, "Oh, what do you think about the film?" And they just looked at each other and like, well, so that's a bad sign for a start.
If the 2 stars like, sorry, we made a shit film.
but obviously I'm not saying about the ending, but oh my god, just what are they thinking about that? That's all I've got to
Did they
say.
have a little baby Joker?
Imagine it's just Chucky or something.
I don't know what to say, man. Yeah, like, I'm never gonna. So you did go and see it. Why did you go and see it? Did you not watch the reviews coming in?
No, I didn't go see it. I just seen a lot of stuff. I seen a lot. Someone on Reddit was talking about it, and then I thought,
I'll tell you, spoiled ending for me. But anyone that watches this or listens to this, right, just fast forward at 30 seconds and just spoil it.
so spoilers if you've not seen it. So what happens is Joker gets fondled a bit by one of the Arkham security guards and says, "Oh, you're not the Joker," and then that breaks the mentality of that's why he starts to become the Joker because he gets traumatized by one of the guards. And then after that, a guy kills the Joker, Joaquin Phoenix's character, Arthur Fleck, and that is meant to be the new Joker because he carves a smile into the face, and people are thinking that's going to be Heath Ledger, but at the same time, it doesn't make sense for that to happen.
No, none of that tracks at all.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying that was going to be the Robert Pattinson Joker that turned up in.
That's what my idea would have been, because it would be cool for them to connect, but at the same time, it doesn't make sense with the timeline because Bruce Wayne's like still a toddler at the time, or like 5 or 6.
And also, I mean, the boy Gunn has said that the Joker movies are nothing to do with the DC universe; they're just their own thing.
Well, he had because he's not been a part of that Joker at all.
Yeah.
But it turns out the Warner Bros. Just basically told Todd Phillips to just get out there. There was no what do you call that? They get a screen viewing with
like previews and that, yeah,
like an audience viewing.
Test screening.
So they didn't do any of that. They just basically go to film and edit, and that was it.
Wow.
So yeah.
Sally, do you have an opinion on this? You look bored as fuck.
I have no opinion. Like, I've not seen it, so I can't give an opinion. That's not fair.
I mean, Sally, plenty of people read the headline and give as many opinions as they want. It's okay. It's the internet. That's fine. So are you going to rush out and see Joker?
That person. So my boyfriend wants me to watch it, and I have agreed to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's been out a long time, and it's not really been on my top of my list. So
no, I stand by my statement. It's not a good film.
Well, here's the thing.
I am also in the minority. I don't think it's great.
I can't seem to watch it for free anywhere either. And with it being quite an old film now, you'd think it'd be on like Prime or Disney or Netflix or something. I've even got Sky Cinema, and it's not on there.
Sky Cinema should have it. But Sally, have you ever seen Taxi Driver?
No.
Go watch Taxi Driver and go watch The King of Comedy and just think, oh, this could be the Joker, and that's literally the Joker.
Okay.
It's like, yeah, it's nothing. It's not anything. You have to pay a small amount of money to see it. But I wouldn't want to give it that small amount of money. Fuck that movie. Okay, if the boyfriend in question decides to if he produces like a Blu-ray or a DVD or something, then fine. But otherwise, nah. You can pay for it.
Right, so
okay, cool. So Joker Folie à Deux. Fuck you.
Yeah.
That's my review.
So
you rhymed the whole way through that. Like, what the fuck?
Hey man, I'm a poet and I'm really sure about it.
Is he really? Okay, right. Well, my second part was Peaky Blinders is finally getting the film. Cillian Murphy's coming back as I wrote Arthur Shelby, but it's not even the right character. It's Thomas Shelby. I don't know why I wrote Arthur.
Before we go any further with this, Sally, what's your experience of Peaky Blinders?
Watch, I'd say 4 seasons of it.
I watched 3/4 of the first episode. I can give no opinions on the show whatsoever. Yep.
I think it's really good.
It's brilliant.
But I think it takes a lot of getting into.
Except for before the last season, the one they bring in the Billy Boys, that is the worst season they've ever made. But Lee, go watch it. Come on, it's good.
I did try and watch it, and I just couldn't be arsed, but I will because it's quite short seasons, like 6 episode seasons, isn't it?
Aye, it's like quite short. It's like 6 episodes each time. But
But that's like me and the boys. I can't get into the boys, and you lot are like, oh, it's great.
I'm pretty sure I could make myself watch it because it's the kind of thing I like. That kind of aesthetic. I like the kind of gangstery things and that, and I like all that stuff. But it's a commitment of time. It's like, am I going to watch it? And I don't. I've watched Slow Horses on Apple TV. That's real good. You should watch that. But anyway, sorry, do your thing.
No, that's on my list. No, Slow Horses. I kind of want to see that. Because Gary Oldman in that.
Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
That's the reason I watched this, because Gary Oldman was in it. I was like, I fucking love Gary Oldman.
What did you say? I couldn't hear. I don't know what happened, but I couldn't hear the name.
Gary Oldman.
No.
Slow Horses.
The name of the show.
Slow Horses.
Slow Horses, right? Okay.
On Apple TV. So if you have Apple TV, like I do, and don't use like some kind of dodgy Fire Stick, then you can watch it on Apple TV.
You have yours at home. Don't use a dodgy Fire Stick.
I actually had Apple TV. No, sorry, of course I have Apple TV, but
free advertising. It's fine.
Yeah.
Go get a subscription.
Placement.
Yeah.
You need to put the P in the corner.
That's it. Apple. So what you're saying, that was Peaky Blinders? They're getting a movie. Is this to finish it all off?
So this is the thing. So they already finished it with the last season, and they says, "Oh, we've got to make a film." I'm like, why not just finish it after that season? Because it was a good season. But yeah, it's in production now. Because they put out like a picture of Cillian Murphy back in the suit. But he's aged.
He's already confirmed.
He's aged a bit. So it'll be interesting what the story's got to be, but I don't know what they can do with it. I think it's during World War II now.
So did it not start off at the end of World War One?
Aye.
So having it switched to
it ends with World War One, because it shows you like the flashbacks and that kind of.
Really?
Aye.
So I always thought that show was like set in the aftermath of World War One, and that's where like the guns and all that come from in the first episode.
Aye. Because
would that not be like 25 years later? Would Cillian Murphy not have to be like a fucking old man at this point then?
Kinda. Because they don't really say. I don't think they really say what the timeline is during the seasons. Because I don't think it's a big jump. But because he becomes like. I will not spoil it in case you go watch it. There's like
I will.
There's a good couple of key points and what they add to it, and I'm like, oh, this is. It feels like he's already done what he needs to today, but I don't know. This might be just a thing like, oh, he's like the old guy, and he's got to try and show the new folk how it would be a gangster or not. Basically, tip the hat, and they'll just pass the torch.
So it's set from the 1880s to the 1920s.
Right, well, it's definitely not World War II then, because 1880s. You'd be deep into the 60s by that point.
Yeah, so it follows the exploits of the Peaky Blinders crime gang in the direct aftermath of the First World War. The fictional gang is loosely based on a real urban youth gang who were active in the city from the 1880s to the 1920s.
Pretty fair, because World War One finished like 1920. I think it was 1919, wasn't it? And World War Two kicked off in 1939. 1939, yeah, because it ran until 1945. Like a TV show.
So wait, what?
He's 1 to 6.
What war was in?
Well, he must have been in World War One because that was 1914 to 1919. I mean, there was other wars before that. There was like the Boer War, and there's like a lot.
Unless it's a sequel, a prequel.
World War II was the sequel, yeah.
Oh no,
it was meant to be a Peaky Blinders film.
You see if the First World War says, aye.
Like, guys, we're getting bogged down in semantics here. Who cares? Right, okay. So they've got a movie coming out, and it's going to be set in a time period. Who knows? Stuff will be happening.
Fun anyways. Yeah. It's always good to be a Peaky Blinders thing.
If you like that, we're excited. Whatever. I will catch up.
Another horror. Well, it's got to be a horror in January, technically. Robbie Williams has a biopic coming out And he's not just playing himself; he is playing as a CGI monkey.
Now, you showed the video. You put this in the group chat,
Yeah.
and folk were like, "Meh, meh, meh." I thought it was quite funny. It seems like a very Robbie Williams to do because he would want to play himself, but he is in his 50s now.
Yeah.
Right, but Robbie Williams is a borderline narcissist. He's a cheeky chappy, or narcissist, as we sometimes call him. And he's going to want to play himself, but he's like, well, I am an old man. I cannot play 23-year-old Robbie Williams unless you digitally de-age me. And they went, or you make me a monkey. Because in a lot of his albums he had his like song called "Me and My Monkey," and he talked about it. I think his monkey was like his addiction issues. That's what he referred to, like the monkey on his back.
Mhm.
Because I don't know of all the crack in that.
It's directed by the guy who made the Greatest Showman. So I mean, there's folks here. There's elements of folk.
And like again, like Robbie Williams is a good entertainer, and he's got like a lot of like songs that I enjoy.
Who gets
Yeah,
copyright?
and Angels is people love that shit. And he has other songs as well that I could definitely name.
Rock DJ. The one that was banned, the video was banned in the 90s because it was too graphic. Yeah, and then it's a skeleton dancing.
It's actually the full thing where it's like his like it's like he just pull his skin off and he's like flinging blood everywhere, and at the end he like rips all his organs off. It's pretty fucked up.
It is. It's weird. Have you not seen it?
No, it's something.
I remember it being on the music channels growing up, and if it was before 9 o'clock, they wouldn't show the full video. They would like blur it out, and then after 9 o'clock, you got to see the full thing. And I remember staying up and watching that particular video just to see why.
Models in the face and everything. Like, it's pretty mental, and it was like. It wasn't considered one of his best songs, but it was like a video they talked about for ages and ages after it. But again, like because he was like quite a good like publicist as well. Like, well, let's just do this. The song's not that good, but if we do this, people will remember it.
Well, I actually had a question about
and
this.
they did.
Still talking about it 20 years later. So
yes, my sweet summer child, what would your question be?
So see how we're coming back to this whole genre. We're getting new biopics now. So we're getting obviously Robbie Williams as a monkey. That's got to be a weird biopic. And there's another one with Pharrell Williams made in Lego. So do you think this is going to be a new trend now with biopic film?
Yeah. If either of these is successful, we'll see all kinds of crazy shit. We'll get a claymation one. We'll get a completely animated one. But to be fair, biopics are boring as shit. So they have to do something interesting. Like, how many times can we see the exact same story? Oh, they started off, then they had to struggle against whatever they had to struggle against to become the person they became. It's like, oh yeah, cool. Yeah. All right.
So my argument with this is that we have been told their struggles and how they went from rags to riches from the day they started in stardom. And a lot of these people we watched on like Britain's Got Talent and what was it, Pop Idol and shit like that. We saw how their careers started. So to do these films and things like that, telling us their backstory, and we're like, yeah, we know, we lived that. You might not have, Logan, because you're a baby, but me and Lee, we lived through their stories.
I mean, I remember like what he done after like he left Take That and that. Like he went off the rails. Like he was a wild man for a long time. But like,
and most people probably don't even realise that he was in Take That. Did you know he was in Take That, Logan?
I literally don't give a shit about Robbie Williams. But this was the thing.
He
about
does.
It was massive when he quit. It was a massive deal.
It was like a whole thing. That was like when Ginger left the Spice Girls.
Nico, what you are talking about, by the way.
Well, you've heard of the Spice Girls, yeah? The first person to leave was Ginger, and because she hated who did she fell out with? Was it Scary? Jerry Halliway and Mel B. Who I'm talking about.
Oh, Mel B.
There's always animosity with them. And now, like when they get back together, it's Victoria that doesn't join because she's like she was the worst singer and the least talented, but she went on to have like the most successful career outside the music. Although she did try to do music. Oh my god, that was bad. But she was like a really good brand manager. Yeah, it's David Beckham. That's not
how I know her.
Oh, but
To
he's
be
cheated
fair,
on her.
with Rebecca Lewis, and the reason I remember her name is because when they'd done the bio thing on Netflix, they name checked Rebecca Lewis, and she's a yoga instructor in Sweden now. That's what she does, and she was upset because they brought her name back into it because David still denies it. Look, David Beckham. Did you see that guy at his height of his popularity? He had been fighting women off with a stick covered in shit, and they'd still be coming at him. He was a handsome boy. He's a handsome man, to be fair. I have a complete aside about this, but you know how Posh Spice recently turned 50.
Yeah.
A woman at my work, her relative was getting married at some castle in Scotland, and they got a phone call saying, "Can you change the date of your wedding?" And they're like, "No." Okay, right, fine. So they got another wedding saying, "Can you change your date of your wedding if we pay for any expenses and give you this much money?" And they're like, "Not really, no." Another phone call. "Look, we will pay off your mortgage if you give us this date." And they went, "Okay. Tell us who it is first, and we'll think about it." And they came back and went, "It was Posh Spice's 50th birthday. It's where she wanted the venue to be." And that's what they offered them, like money and to pay off their full mortgage if they would give them.
That's awesome.
Reimbursed. I was like,
did they pay off the mortgage?
They didn't accept.
No way. Why not?
Like, invite me at the 50th, pay off the mortgage. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what you would have done. What?
Oh, it was mental.
Why did they not accept?
Again, this was a friend at work telling me about a family member, so like I didn't get like much of the story, but it stuck in my mind. Like, that's the fucking coolest thing I've ever heard in my life. I would have gave up the Windy immediately. I'd have got married at the register office, mortgage paid, money. Thank you very much, David and Victoria Beckham.
That's the clip of the week.
I named my first child.
I will rename my first child. Sorry, my own son. You're now called David. You're actually now called Victoria. Fuck it.
This day and age, why not?
Yeah, whatever. So that's my aside. That's my weird, not even connected. Someone at my work is vaguely connected to a story about them, but I thought it was a cool story. What if it's true? I hope it is. What are we talking about again? I've gone completely lost. We're talking about Spice Girls. Robbie Williams biopic. Boom, yeah. Biopics, I don't know why they're so big, but Robbie Williams has a massive fan base. He's still selling out like stadiums and stuff, which I didn't know. But his fan base is so big that this film will probably do well. Well, if they can make it cheap enough, it will still do well.
Here's the problem: it's in January, and when the film's in January, that's when it's just being put out just for the sake of it. So
that used to be the case. That January was considered like a wasteland. That's where you dump all the shit movies because nobody's going to the cinema and they'll do badly. Until the last few years, when they started releasing Marvel movies in January, and they still did well.
Oh really?
So yeah, don't get me wrong. They might still switch. There might be nothing else to watch, but if it's a Robbie Williams movie, enough people might be interested to go and see it. Do you have the budget at all?
I think it's like 200 million. I might be wrong on that. I remember.
The fucking way the Robbie Williams movie cost 200 million. It was ridiculous.
It was something ridiculous.
It's the monkey that costs the most money. Come on.
We had to genetically create a monkey, implant Robbie Williams' brain in it, and then that would be expensive.
Just let it run riot. It'll do brilliantly.
Yeah.
Could we class this as a Planet Roots film though?
Yes, there we go.
110 million.
You're joking.
No,
I think everyone said back.
What? It was filmed almost entirely in Melbourne with a production budget of 110 million US dollars. The film represents the largest independent film production to be made. Paramount Pictures.
That is okay. I take it back. That movie's going to bomb its ass off. I thought they were going to make it for like 20 million or something.
So it's actually releasing in America on the 25th of December, but it gets a worldwide release in January 17th.
It's getting released in the country where he famously failed to break. Right, that's like literally the biggest thing with Robbie Williams is he never made it in America. He made it in Europe and he made it in like the UK, but like famously never became famous in America. Famously. That's mental. But anyway, whatever. That movie's going to bomb its ass off. I agree with you now, Logan. It's getting released in January. It's going to make 30 quid.
I think it'll be one of the things. It'll be shit in the cinema, but see when it's out on Netflix or that, people got to start
Aye.
memeing it and that. So so yeah, Robbie Williams is a CGI monkey. Who knew? Who knew we would get this before GTA
If you had
6?
told us 4 years, if you'd said to me 4 years ago, here's what's going to happen, I said, no one needs a Robbie Williams movie. He's still alive and making music, probably. GTA 6. Oof, that'll be a good one. Anyway, okay, cool. Any more movie news, Logan?
No, that's all. That's all I wanted. I
That was
really
it.
wanted to talk about this Robbie Williams thing because it's doing my head in.
I actually quite liked the trailer. The trailer was pretty good, and it was interesting enough, but 110 million.
I don't know what the fuck are they doing.
It seems like it'd be cheaper just to digitally de-age him, or just whatever. That's mental.
Right,
I'm
so
not having it.
should we start?
Move
should we
on.
start with our first film? Our first film.
Yeah. Which one should I talk about first?
Should we talk about the thing?
No, let's talk about
No.
Ginger Snaps. 'Cause I want to get it out of the way as quick as possible.
Okay, right.
Fucking terrible
Ginger
movie.
Snaps is brilliant.
You started, so I'll find my notes on that one.
I've got a note on it.
Had you watched it before?
Yes.
Had you not? Okay. Let's read the
Summary.
the thing. Yes, thank you.
No, that's not the thing. No, Ginger Snaps.
Two death-obsessed sisters, outcast in their suburban neighborhood, must deal with the tragic consequences when one of them is bitten by a deadly werewolf. I feel like that isn't enough of information for this film.
I could summarise this in a couple of words. Female teen
Go for
wolf.
it.
Oh, fuck off. It's not like, shut the fuck. No, done. I shouldn't say that. Logan, your views are stupid.
No,
Right.
think about it.
Like,
Think about it.
it's not female. Teen Wolf, for a start, is a family comedy about bitten and then turning into a very hairy black man. Because that's what happens in that movie. All of a sudden, he's good at really racial stereotypes that were associated with black people in the 80s. All of a sudden, he's good at dancing and playing basketball. Normal werewolf stuff. None of that happens in this movie. It's an allegory for women going through like their period.
Yeah, that's why
fuck's
I'm
sake.
female.
But
Females, periods and stuff, whatever.
yeah, they turn into animals once a month.
Yeah, get all hairy.
Shark Week, that's what we call it.
Weird nails.
Weird. Anyway, so yeah.
So
you
this
guys
is
talk
a
about-
film that I watched as like an early teenager. And it was one of those films that I watched because I was going through my goth stage. I thought this is perfection for somebody who's like who's slightly obsessed with all things dark. I was like, yeah, I like this film. And I forgot it existed. Do you know there's also a Ginger Snaps 2?
And there's also a prequel.
What the fuck?
And did you know that all three of the movies star the same two actors? Do you know that? Do you get the actors' names?
No.
I wrote it down. Who cares? They're terrible. Oh, sorry, no. It was Emily Perkins and Catherine Isabella. And they're in all three movies, which actually was quite impressed at. I like continuity with actors.
No. This just shows they're not getting any other role.
They were doing quite well for themselves. Ginger Snaps 2 and the prequel were filmed back to back. The prequel is actually set 150 years before the first movie. It has the same two actresses, they have the same names and the same surname, but it's just like completely unrelated, which I thought was really funny. But anyway, sorry, continue.
And I think I watched it again a few years ago. I think probably COVID type time when I was just watching absolutely anything that I could think of. But it's just one of those films that I think as you sort of grow older and you realise the contents of it, and you're like, it depicts women in such a bad way.
I agree, and I've got to disagree on that, and it's because, like, see how I don't want to talk about it as because I'm a guy, right? But it's the way, like, how the like although she's been bit by a werewolf and she turns and transforms into a werewolf, they're trying to basically make it into like, oh, this is like the way it would be. They're transforming into like like puberty and all that sort of stuff. You know what I mean? Like that. I don't know. I don't know what's the
Well, yeah,
best way to describe it.
I mean, yeah, it's an allegory for, like, you know, the kind of changes that you go through because it's like a sexual awakening, you know, like your body changes, hormones start going through you, so maybe you are more interested in sex. Because that's what happens. She becomes more interested in boys, more interested in sex. And, you know, because of her dark, because like, kind of gets channeled a strange way where she kind of becomes a bit more violent, and it's sex and death kind of become the same thing for her. So she's kind of like a bit bitey. But yeah, it was... I don't know. Again, I don't know if maybe it just didn't speak to me in any way because I was neither a goth nor a woman. So when I start watching this movie, I'm like, these bitches are crazy. And also, the
so, you know...
Go ahead.
No, carry on.
I was going to say, the further removed I get from high school, the more I resent teenagers. So, like, when I watch them doing stuff, I'm like, these fucking idiots, being so stupid. And like, I remember like knowing kids, like teenagers that were obsessed with death and that, and would go on about their darkness and all that. I'm like, shut the fuck up, you wee dick. Right? You know, you don't know anything about any of this. You're a fully functioning teenager body, right? Nothing hurts yet. Like, death's a fucking far-flung thing that you pretend you're obsessed with, but like, you're not really faced with mortality just yet. You don't know what you're talking about, and you've also got this. You can change massively when you get bored of this. Anyway, so yeah. I resent all movies with teenagers in them, apparently.
I like the special effects.
I hated the special effects. I thought they were worse than the killer clowns from outer space.
Hold on.
I thought the masks were not as they weren't as good. And I think the werewolf costume in Dog Soldiers was far better.
So what about the scene then where the bloke started bleeding from his penis? How did you find that?
That was, I'd be honest, that was funny. Like, see, because I think that's like it's like a sexually transmitted disease, and he starts bleeding out his dick. Like, okay, that's pretty funny. Like, you know, that'll teach you, teenager, to be having unprotected sex. That's what happens. Blood comes out your dick. Yeah. She also cures him with like the syringe, and he's just never in the movie again. Like, that was weird. Like, he's just like, oh, sorry, and you're like, that's weird. Like, just stabbed him in the neck.
How quickly did that body freeze in that freezer?
Oh, that was fast, wasn't it? Like, yeah, you know,
it was amazing. I want a freezer like that. Fucking hell, yeah, that's like flash freeze.
Yeah, that was like what, 3 hours later, full body, like it was a block of ice. I'm like, that has been in there for a week.
You have to chip it out.
Yeah, like, frozen to the point where the fingers snap off. I did like the mum character. She just loved her kids so much, and she was like, we'll just burn the house down. It kind of sounded like she was going to kill her husband as well. just ensure the sleeve for the girls, and then just be like, okay, we'll start a new life, just us girls. I'm like, yeah, that's weird. Like, that seems quite dark. I mean, I guess she loves those kids, but then she just disappears from the movie as well. Once she gets dumped at the party, we just don't see her again. I suppose the movie does cut to black, like right at the end as well. So there was that.
But how did she not notice that something was wrong with her girls? Like the girl. Like, this is the thing. It's always annoyed me about the film is the fingernails on her. Like, they are claws. They are literal claws from the moment she's bitten. That's it. She's just got these big, thick talons. Like, how does nobody sit there and go, what's wrong with your nails?
I feel like this is a thing that Logan won't have experienced, but Sally will have. Do you keep an eye on your kids' fingernails? Because kids famously don't cut their fingernails, and they'll walk into a room and you'll be like, come here. People like, your fingernails like caked with dirt from like here down the way. Come here. And you have to cut their fingernails. Then you have to take their socks and shoes off and cut their toenails as well. Because if you don't, they won't do it. Right? And they're like, I need new shoes. Why? Because my toenails are this long. Like, no. And they're always scared because at one point you're going to, Sally, have you ever nicked your kid when you're nails? And they never.
Yeah, now they're terrified. Yeah, they do. Every time I get the nail clippers out, they're like, no, they're fine. Like hiding them in their pockets. They're like, no, I don't need it.
You can do it yourself. And you're like, so yeah, it's my younger son has never let me forget the one time that I nicked him, and it was like 5 years ago. Right, well, do it yourself. No, right, I guess I'm doing it. But yeah. So you're right, Sally. Unbelievable movie where a person turns into a werewolf because their fingernails were long and no one's like, hey, you're clearly a werewolf.
Do you know what really annoyed me about that film? Is how many dogs have died in that film? Like, see in the
Ooh,
beginning.
they killed a lot of dogs.
And
Ooh.
do you know the other bit is, see when the guy, he kind of gets bit and becomes like a werewolf. He's like, do you know what I did for fun? I killed my own dog. I was like, why are you saying that? Like, why are you being a werewolf?
Werewolves seem to really hate dogs for some reason. Like, that seems weird. Like, why are they after dogs? Should it be cats they were after? No.
It's like I thought that she killed the girl, and then they go over the fence and like, oh my god, you killed the dog.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
even-
it's like,
And then the kid walking around in his fucking hockey boots. What? His ice skates, walking around with the dog food. Like, what?
poor guy goes, because the dog was called Norman, wasn't it? And he's like,
Yeah.
And then that woman died. Like the bully, she dies really easy as well. She just goes down. I thought there was like something to do with the milk, but like they really showed a lot of shots of the milk on the ground. Like, I thought, is milk
He
important to this
slipped
story?
on the milk.
Yeah, but they're making a big deal
And-
of the milk. I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
yeah, it's milk. I get it. And she falls over and bangs her head, and she dies immediately. All right,
And they're like faking the death.
that was funny. That did
She's
make
like,
me laugh.
oh, it's just corn syrup. Want to try some? It's like, no.
It's like, yeah, I was like, is the dad going to try it? Like, is he going to lick the fake blood off his daughter's fingers? Because that's going to be a
Oh.
different movie. And then I'm like, I'm
That's
glad
something
that
on
didn't happen.
Pornhub.
Yeah, that's definitely a subsection. Yeah. Trying to think. I do have some more facts about the movie if you want. Right, how much do you think the movie cost to make Logan? More or less than 10 million?
Oh,
Less.
I'm going to say
Less.
less, 'cause it's Canadian.
Yeah, it's correct. It cost 4.5 million. Now, do you think it was a box office success or failure?
Fuck no, it's
Failure.
a flop.
It was a flop. It made $0.5 million at the box office. It did, however, garner incredibly good reviews. It's sitting at 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. So therefore, I am wrong in my review of disliking. Everyone else liked it apart from me. So I felt bad about that. However, there's an interesting thing. The guy that directed it was called John Fawcett. And have you heard of the TV show Orphan Black?
Did
Yes.
you write that?
He wrote and directed it. And that was considered a very, very, very good TV show. And I think it was made between, I think it was a BBC/American thing.
Should I go
And apparently, my missus watched it. She said it was fantastic. She absolutely loved it. I've never watched it, but it's the one where the main character, the actress, plays like 8 different roles in the in the TV show.
It's like I think they're all related or something.
Yeah, I think they're all like clones. They're all like sisters or something. Yeah. But yeah, he done that, which really surprised me. He's also not that old. He's like 54. I don't know why I assumed he was going to be older, but I just thought it was weird that he was only 54. So, oh yeah, so he was.
How old was he when he
Ginger
made
Snap.
the film then?
So what was that?
Maybe
2000?
30.
30 something.
Yeah, 'cause it came out in 2000. And he also directs a lot of TV. He's mainly a TV director. He done things like Xena, Lost Girl, if you ever seen that, and he done Queer as Folk, the American version, I guess. So he's done a lot. He does keep working. The two stars,
Keeps coming back.
they did a lot of TV show stuff, but Catherine Isabella, she went on to become a scream queen. She's in lots and lots of horror movies,
Yes, I saw that.
which I thought was interesting. The other one did go
Because
on to
she's
do
got
quite
one
a
of
lot.
them faces that you sort of recognise, but you're like, how do I know her?
I
But you end up
reckon they're-
Googling her and then finding out that she's in fucking everything.
Yeah, that was more or less it. Like, she was in like pretty much every TV show that has been made for the last 20 years. And it's like just various different roles. It's like, oh yeah, so she was in like Supernatural. She was in, like 3 episodes of this thing here. She's in 3 episodes. She's always worked, so she's done well for herself. It must be weird being like a mid-level actor where you've never quite made it big, but you do all right. So it's like, I guess I just do this now. That must be weird as you age as well, because like Ginger Snap, she was in high school, but then later on, I see her like the character's called like Aunt Judy, that kind of stuff. You're like, oh, okay, I guess
that's
like,
like- Melissa Joan. Melissa.
Melissa Joan Hart.
Yeah, she's a grandma in TV shows now.
She was at Comic Con at the weekend, and I remember her. Clarissa Explains It All, a teenager.
Yes.
And then Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and now she would be Sabrina the Middle-Age Witch, I guess. She'd be the same age as the aunties in the original one. The auntie from that show, who's old as fuck, still pretty hot.
Which one? Zelda.
The kind of thinner one, I forget.
Yeah,
Was that Zelda?
Zelda.
Yeah.
But then the other one, I know, because then they did the crossover, didn't they, with the new Sabrina on Netflix, and that was quite fun.
I did not know that. That's cool. Well, they just turn up in an episode or something.
Yeah. And you did a thing where they watched the first season and they like recorded their reactions, and they were like, "Wow, that's dark."
Well, that's what's good, because the Sabrina they remade was like super duper dark. Yeah, I was like, wow, that's nothing like the one I remember. The one I remember was real family friendly. I think Sabrina was originally connected to Archie Comics or something, so which I think actually happened in the TV show as well. Now I think about it. Anyway, we digressed.
No,
again.
Ginger Snaps. Yeah, I'm never gonna watch that movie again.
It literally reminded me what Sally is as a person. Like I was like, this is something Sally
werewolf, yes.
definitely watch. Never watching that again.
She does have to shave her legs quite often, just so you know.
I know. Then she gets well annoyed at the fact that her razor gets full of the hair. It's like, fucking wax, girl. Just wax it off.
They looked like pretty thick hairs. I mean, it was also a shitty razor. She was like, what do you think that little tiny razor was going to do with those big fuck off dog hairs? It's like, go get yourself a cutthroat razor. A weed whacker. But yeah, again, it was 2000 score. It was fine, you know.
One of my favourite scenes is when she ties her tail down.
That was pretty funny. Again, yeah. It's quite funny when the guy turns up as well, and I'm growing a fucking tail. You're like, yeah.
One in the front, one in the back. Wait.
I did think that she goes to the party at the end. I thought that the makeup was very reminiscent of Buffy the Vampire Slayer when the vampires kind of like do that face thing. So I don't know if they just like stole that straight off the set, but she looked all kind of werewolfy, and then obviously she just turned into the dog monster. You're like, oh, okay. I think I preferred the kind of transformation part as opposed to like that. Once it became a monster, you're like, all right, I guess she's just a big monster now. Also quite easy to kill.
Were you hoping it to be like American Werewolf in London, like the transformation like that?
I think I prefer my werewolves when it's like they turn back and forth, because I like that. That's like, it's more upsetting. Like once you become a monster, like, well, you're a monster and that's you're a monster now. Whereas the fact that they had to wake up and realize what they'd done, or like wake up surrounded by bodies and be themselves, that's scarier, because it's like you're yourself, but when a certain set of circumstances make you into this thing that you can't control, that's you know, that makes it real sad. But yeah.
So what we're rating this one out
of? Are we doing ratings now? I don't like this movie. I wrote this. I don't like it out of 10.
Okay.
I reckon about 6.
If
you're a goth and you went through trauma, just go watch it. You'll be alright.
I mean, like, we've all been through trauma, but you know,
goths are worse.
Like, see if you
Some of us more than others.
Yeah, that is true. We don't want to get a trauma Olympics at this point because we'll lose. Different podcast, guys. Different podcast.
It is Mental Health Awareness Day, just so you know.
Fucking always mental health awareness something. Yes, we see you, people with mental health problems. We just don't like seeing you or looking at you. Why don't you go and sit somewhere in the dark? I'm only joking.
Some worms.
Right.
Mum used to sing that to me all the time.
Go and eat worms. Okay.
The next one.
So yeah, I reckon 6 out of 10.
I rate it as a 2.
I'm not giving it a rating. Fuck that movie.
Okay.
So the next one, Alien or The Thing?
Yeah, let's do Alien because I want to talk about I'll talk about The Thing for like an hour and a half.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair because I cannot get to see Alien.
So Logan, what do you think of Alien Romulus?
You've not seen it yet.
Oh, I loved it. Oh, it was like great. It had
you have seen it.
Predator. No, I didn't actually. It had the Predator. It had Big Arnold.
He
back.
couldn't get it for free,
God.
and he couldn't go to the cinema because he waited so long.
You should have gone to the cinema to go see it because it was really good.
Right, here was my plan. My plan was to go watch all the Alien films, then go watch it just so I know what I was so I knew what was happening, but I didn't have time. I've been busy. But at least I watched Ginger Snaps.
True.
So 2 films out of the 3, so you can't blame me on this one.
I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. It had me on the edge of my seat. Yeah, I don't know if I'd go see it again because I feel like it's all the jumpy bits and all the good bits would be done. I'd kind of know what's coming. I thought it was really well done. I thought it was very interesting, and it was gory without being like OTT, and yeah, I just think it was a really good film.
Well,
A good alien film.
Oh, that's exactly what I was going to say. Out of the last several Alien movies I've watched, there's only, in my opinion, which is the only opinion that matters, there's only 3 actual Alien films, and that's the first Alien movie, Aliens, and Romulus. Alien 3 is a poor man's Alien 1, so there's no point in watching that one. Alien Resurrection is just a bad movie. I actually say, weirdly enough, I would say Alien Resurrection is a bad copy of Alien Romulus, despite the fact that Alien Resurrection came out 20 years before it. What is another way to say that? I think people watched Alien Resurrection and learned the right lessons from it, and then made Alien Romulus and made a better movie. And also, Alien Covenant and Alien Prometheus are just bad films. Although I have been reading a lot of things online, and a lot of people apparently are saying that Prometheus is a good movie, and I'm wrong. But I watched that film, and nope. I went back and watched it because I thought maybe I judged it too harshly, and it was still bad. And Covenant is dog shit. Covenant is basically somebody watched a Friday the 13th movie, took out Jason, put in an alien, and went, there you go. It's bad. If it wasn't an alien movie, it'd probably be better. Anyway, back to Romulus. That's my opinion on things. Romulus is fucking great. It looks like an alien movie from the start. It looks like an alien movie. Like, you're like, things are going to go bad for these people. As soon as you see them, you're like, you guys are going to try to get out of here, and it's not going to go well for you. But it makes it hopeless for them really straight away, which I thought was fantastic. It was the young girl in it, the actress whose name I can't remember. They were all very good. They were all too young, but doesn't matter. We'll come back to that. She's worked really hard and she's desperate to get off planet, and she's got this synthetic. Did you guess he was a synthetic straight away, Sally? Yep, me as well. Because I thought there's no other reason this dude would be hanging out with her, and he's like kind of dumb. I thought he's a broken synthetic, but that was still cool that she had this thing that she loved, and she'd worked really hard, and she's like, okay, now it's time for me to leave. And she went up, and they immediately fucked her. Like, oh, we've changed the rules. You need to do another 5-year service. And then she talks about how her parents died to try to get off this planet because they keep fucking them. So she tried everything. She was desperate. So it showed you when the lifeline came in, that she had no options. It wasn't like weird why she'd done it. It's because she had to do it. Because it was risky thing now, or just die straight on the planet. So that all made complete sense to me. How did you feel about how youthful all the cast were?
I don't know, because I'm under the impression, like, with that scenario that they were in, they had already seen what had happened to their parents, so they were just looking to leave it. So I kind of get that, and I think nowadays people are trying to break the cycles earlier. So, like, for instance, kids nowadays, like my kids, will not be accepting office jobs at 9 to 5. They'll be like, fuck that. We can work from home. We can work from the beach. The internet is that good. We don't need to do it. And I know that that's really like far-fetched, but so they're just wanting to break that cycle really quickly and be able to actually live a life. So I get what you're coming from with them being very young, but young people nowadays are a lot more switched on than what we were.
I actually like your way better than my way. That actually excuses a lot of stuff, because they did. Yeah, you're right there. That's probably what the film was going for. They just watched their parents die on that planet, and they're like, fuck this. So they're all young because all their parents are dead, so the parents couldn't be in it because all the parents are dead. So yeah, that actually makes a lot more sense now. It's okay, you've added a layer to that movie that I quite appreciate now.
Yes.
Well done, Sally.
Look at me go.
Yeah. So,
not just trauma dumping, I enlighten too.
Yeah. And that also, it's a smart thing, yeah. So they do all this. So they set it up really well. The stakes are there. You understand the stakes. It's not convoluted. We need to get off this planet. There's a risky thing we can do, but it looks like we can handle it. And then they go up to the space station. Ian Holm, did you expect him to be in the movie, Sally?
No.
No.
That was a shock to me. I saw him and I was like, it's him.
It's him. He has been dead for 4 years at this point. And I was like, that's weird. But then when I thought about it, they do specify it's the Nostromo that they pick all this stuff up from. So it makes sense that it's like it couldn't be anyone else. Because one guy online was bitching. I was like, it should have been Bishop. Like, yeah, but it wasn't Bishop in the Nostromo. So they kind of painted himself in a corner. And I did read that, and they did go to Ian Holmes' estate and ask him if they could do it. So they got some money out of it. So good for them. But that I was like, fucking it's Ian Holm. That's pretty cool. I do feel that the CGI for Ian Holm was a bit sugary, but I got by it, and then they were really clever. They stuck him on the view screen, and it worked a lot better. Because when he was in person, I'm like, his face isn't moving right. Like,
yes.
But
like there's something dodgy going on there, mate.
I think it's still our human brains can spot things that aren't right, and we're like, no. But then when they switched it, it did look a lot more kind of realistic. I think because they have the shitty views. But then when they got to the space station, I thought it built the tension really well. And obviously, as alien viewers, we knew what was coming. But I'm scared of facehuggers in general. I am fucking scared of facehuggers now. Like, oh
my god, that was insane when they go through and they're trying to walk really quietly.
Like, I was
and
like,
you're sat there and you're like not breathing, waiting for them to get through, and you're like, oh my god.
It was great because they just a couple of lines of dialogue. They sense heat, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Why? Because no eyes, so they sense heat. So I'll make it really hot, but it can only go so hot. If you start to panic and sweat, then they'll be like, boom. And like the way they moved, like they could see they were like almost like testing the air all the time. Scary as fuck. So scary. And then see when they started chasing them, I'm like, oh no, he's going to run faster. Oh, it was great. That is just
it was
so that whole
brilliant.
Yeah, loved every moment of that. Thought that was great. So scary, really. And because we can do I keep making the face. That's me doing face huggers, by the way. That's face huggers coming at you. Because we can animate them really well now, and the way prosthetics work, like they look scary as fuck. There's little air sacs on the side of them, so it was like making you breathe and all that. Scary as fuck. They had the X-ray tool, so like the girl that was like could feel that she checked her chest, and there was like an alien in it. I was like, imagine how terrifying that, because she freaks out. Of course, she freaks out because she does it, and it starts moving immediately. And I'm like, oh no! And it looks like it hurts her so much when it bursts out, but it's such a shame. So that whole all the facehugger stuff was fantastic. There was one bit that made me laugh though. It's later on, once the aliens burst out, and it's kind of like it's kind of ran off. The guy finds it on a wall as it's gestating and becoming a big alien. He gets real fucking close to that thing. Like, if I see the big pulsating sack on the wall, I would be like, go for face first, like poking it and shit. Because he blasts it with the electricity, doesn't he? He like sticks it and zaps it. And then he starts getting closer and closer. And then, like, I didn't want to be one of those guys, but I'm like, don't do that, man. Don't do that. No, mate, you need to move away. Mate, don't do it.
No, we've seen this before. You don't get close, you run.
It's like, never in your life do you get close and the fucking thing gets him and just comes out. It's like, that's fucking terrible. Like that poor dude, but what gets fucked up. But yeah, there was Logan. I can't believe you watched this movie. I actually feel bad about like spoiling this movie for you, but fuck you, it's great.
What about the ending though?
The ending. Well,
right.
I was going to let my son watch it because he loves xenomorphs.
No.
And then the ending happened. I'm like, I don't know if you can watch this because that is fucked up.
That is terrifying.
Yep. So
the metal teeth.
Before we go to the ending, was there anything else in the? Oh, there's a couple more sequences I want to talk about before we get to the ending, because the ending's great. What about when they do the 0G and there's the acid and they've got to get through the acid?
Yeah.
How cool is that sequence?
How clever is that? How did they like sit there and think, yeah, this is what we need to do? How did anybody think about that scenario?
I'll tell you, I listened to another podcast about Romulus, and the guys complained about that sequence, said it was rubbish. I was like, fuck you. That was an amazing sequence. How terrifying would that be? Because you know, if any of it touches you, it's going to melt you. And it's just spinning around, and you need to move quickly, because if you don't, it's going to get you. Oh, it was great. Fucking fantastic sequence. So scary, so original. Never seen anything like that done before. Brilliant. Loved that. They had the smart guns. They were cool. I love smart guns in movies because they're pretty cool. And then my brother gets upgraded and he becomes kind of evil until he takes the thing out again. That was cool as well.
But I kind of understood what he was doing.
Yeah.
He like, it was kind of like a Thanos situation, isn't it? It's like you kind of agree with him, you kind of don't. You're like, I see it from both directions.
Yeah, she's about to get out and he closes the doors like she wouldn't have made it. And you're like, he's like, no, I timed it. Like she wasn't going fast enough, and if I hadn't closed the door, it would have got all of us. So you know that was it was such kind of heartbreaking sequence because the actors were really good. It's like, you left her to die. But also there was a slight element of like, was she going to make it and you wanted her to get caught? Like it was unclear, but like I kind of believed him. He was being very coldly practical. But okay, right. So yeah, that's bits and pieces of the movie. Watch it. It's all great. Right, Sally, talk about the ending.
Oh, I don't like the ending. Like it the baby, like humanoid alien baby. Sorry, spoilers.
Just to explain, one of the characters is pregnant, and I think we're like, these things aren't going to go well for this baby. Oh no! And they distracted us with the weird black goo, which is a callback to the Covenant and Prometheus. And he injects the and she's really badly injured, but she injects it and she heals up. But she heals up and she's fine. And she's like, oh, that's weird. But she's pregnant, and we're like, what's that black goo going? Oh no! So yeah, that's when it shoots at the baby. Right, Sally, continue.
Yeah, so she like, they open up the little airlock thingy, don't they? And there's just blood, like fucking everywhere. She's screaming her head off. There's blood everywhere, and you're like, what? Where did the baby go?
Yeah.
And then you turn around and there's a weird baby.
It's a baby. It's a baby in an egg sack, and it's kind of babyish, but also kind of
kind
not.
of like Voldemort.
Yeah.
But with teeth,
It's disconcerting straight away. Like that's fucked up, and it gets big real quick.
But it gets worse. It grows like in seconds. It's suddenly an adult and wanting its mum, and it's just. It was horrible. I'm sat there and I'm like, oh my god. It's one of those situations where you're sort of watching it through your hands, like, oh my god, I want to look away, but I can't look away. And then, it was very clever because she pushed the button and went up the lead thing, didn't she? And it fell. But then that fell into where the planet that they had just come from, right?
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
So did you talk about the baby? Did you talk about the big alien creepy thing sucking the boob juice out of its mum?
No, I did not.
So the baby starts creeping towards the mum, and she's all fucked up and like, get away from me, you monster! And you're like, oh, it's going to kill her. It does not kill her. It just kind of goes up to her, it's like, on them titties. And you're like, oh, that's fucked up. And I was like, I have never seen anything like that before. That's fucked up. But yeah, I don't think it kills her. I think she just kind of dies because she is like horribly wounded from the birth.
Yeah.
But yeah, before she dies, it sucks some black goo out of them titties. So that's fucked up. But yeah, the way she kills it's pretty clever. It shows it's intelligent though. I reckon if it'd been a bit older, it'd have figured out what she was doing straight away. But yeah, she kills it real good. But that last sequence. But that was a really good alien thing. It's like, we've escaped. It was like, the trumpet music, everything's fine, we're going to get away. And then it gives you this bit. And you're like, oh man.
It was so horrible. I hated it. It was weird as fuck. It was great.
Yeah, it was great. It made me sad because I'm like, oh man, I thought they were all going to make it. And now they're not going to make it. So yeah, pregnant girl, she dead. Baby alien monster, also dead. They kind of set up some more stuff, to be fair, because I think I guess it seems like there's more aliens cutting about. Just so we know, in the timeline, by the way, this sits between Alien and Aliens. So I think it's 37 years after the first Alien movie. So if you care about such things, that's where it sits in the timeline. But yeah, it was great from start to finish. Just for some fun facts about the movie, it was done by I think his name's Fede Alvarez. He done Don't Breathe, if you've seen those movies.
Oh, Don't Breathe.
And he also done Evil Dead, the remake of Evil Dead. Right. For guesstimates time, budget, Logan and Sally, over or lower than 70 million?
Over.
80 million. Box office, a box office success or failure?
Failure.
Success. 350 million against an 80 million budget.
That's surprising.
I was surprised until I watched the movie. I was like, yeah, people will watch this movie because it's fucking good. I was very, very impressed. I can't wait to watch it again because I want to watch the sequence where they get chased by the facehuggers again, and I want to see there was like really good action sequences in it, but the ending was pure Alien. It was pure Alien 1, and it was scary. And that big monster thing, they're definitely going to bring those kind of things back because they fucked up.
Oh.
Don't like that. But that's going to happen again because they are scary. So yeah.
They're really going to, the human race is going to think that the goose thing is a good thing. So my immediate thought when I saw the black goo was Venom. So how cool would that crossover be?
We make this this is the MCU entering into the Alien verse, and it's Venom.
ACU.
Oh no.
Yeah.
The Alien Cinematic Universe. I don't know what they're going to do with it. Yeah. I don't know what they're going to do with it, but yeah. There was talk of another Alien vs Predator franchise, but I think that could be good if they do it properly, but they keep doing it badly because they get people that don't care about it to do it.
They are doing a Predator TV show soon. That's coming out next year. I think that's
We're also getting an Alien TV show as well.
The Samurai Chan era. Like
that's a film, and it's a sequel to Prey.
No. They're doing it as a TV show.
Really?
That got changed.
I didn't know that. I'm looking forward to it because I think Prey was fantastic. The recent reboots of those franchises have been brilliant because they're actually like good movies as opposed to just like
because Disney has the rights to them instead of obviously Fox because that was a part of the deal they made.
That makes sense. But yeah, Alien Romulus, can't say enough good things about it. I've spoiled the fuck out of it. You should, if you've not watched it, you should have watched it already.
I feel
watch it anyway. It's fucking great.
I'm Predator fan. I'm not gonna lie. Alien, I just can't get them, man. I've tried.
Really, not any of the aliens.
Well, I've not seen Aliens. I got told I would like Aliens better because that's more action-packed than a sci-fi fiction compared to.
If you watch Aliens, the director's cut's very, very good. The problem with Aliens now is that it was made in 1985, I think, 1984, and it is dated. Like, see when you watch the special effects, some of it's practical and it's fantastic. Some of it you're like, that's very clearly a model, or that's very clearly like a matte painting in the background. And if you can't get by that kind of thing, it is weird. But the aliens themselves look great, and like a lot of the stuff looks good. But some of the stuff it kind of sucks you out the movie because like that's very clearly a tiny little model flying along like in a model. But you know, it's very good. But yeah, I think Alien itself is kind of hard to watch now because so many things copied the way Alien was done that when you go back and watch, you're like, oh, that's just this movie and that movie. That movie was like, well, it's no, because they done it first and they made it really good. But as I said, you should put Aliens, Alien Romulus. Don't really bother with the rest of them too much. But yeah. So if we're rating that one out of 10, 9 out of 10.
Yeah. Watch it, Logan.
Yeah, watch
Homework.
it. Don't think I'll like it. I really don't think I'll like it just because it's Alien.
It's good, honestly.
There's so much good stuff in it. Like honestly, it takes all the best bits of all the movies and like makes it, and it adds fresh stuff to it as well. But anyway, whatever, cool. So that's Alien Romulus.
Speaking of aliens, our next film, The Thing.
The Thing.
Now, before we start, I want Sally, see when you watched it, didn't you?
I did, yes.
What was your thoughts on the intro when it's just the chopper flying and it's just the dog running? What was your thoughts on this?
I'm like, why are they trying to kill a dog? That's so mean. What is wrong? And I watched it with Sim.
Just to
I'm like,
clarify, have
why
you
are they
never
try-
watched The Thing before?
I've never watched it before. So I'm like lying there and I'm like, why are they trying to kill a dog? That's horrible. And Sim's just like, just watch the film. And I'm like, okay. So I'm there like, that's mean.
Oh,
I get it now.
however, later in the film, I went, all right, that's why. I see.
There's actually a prequel to that film, which the ending actually connects to the very first scene in the first thing, which I thought
Prequel was made in
cool.
2011, and it was widely criticised because it was used CGI and not practical effects.
God damn it.
So yeah, they made the sequel years and years later, and it's basically the Norwegian camp.
Aye.
But that's like the big problem with it, and it would be like 2011 special effects. So now to our eyes, that would look absolutely terrible.
It's like
And I
Resident
think
Evil
even in
special
2011,
effects.
it was considered bad. So like, it'd be like watching like a 2001 special effects crew, like, oh no, the CGI is terrible. That's the problem with CGI. Is every like 5 years it moves ahead so fast that everything you watched previously looks fucking awful. But they did make a lot of in the original. They did try, like, they rebuilt the sets and everything, so like all the stuff's like in the same place, which is really a lot of a detail, and then done a lot of CGI that was bad. Anyway, back to the movie.
Do you know it was actually based? It was a novel at first. The novel is called "Who Goes There" by John Campbell. If anyone's never read it, but yeah, it was a novel at first.
It came out in the 1920s, 1930s, something like that.
The novel.
It was like the novel, yeah,
Aye.
yeah, not the movie.
Not the film.
Yeah, it came out the thing predates the Wizard of Oz by 2 years, I believe. So you know,
That's why it flopped.
yeah, because people weren't ready for, you know, Kurt Russell especially made a time machine, went back in time just to star in it. So that was pretty
Kurt
impressive.
Russell.
Oh, that was
Fine.
peak Kurt Russell. That was at his sexiest Kurt Russell. To be fair,
All the
at his sexiest
hair.
maybe in Tango and Cash as well. But like that is like peak Kurt Russell, that time period. Looks great with a beard, looks great without a beard. Rough and tumble.
What version Kurt Russell do you all like? Because I have one.
Yeah, okay.
I really like him as Santa in the Christmas Chronicles. I think he's brilliant.
I can't argue with that, yeah. Who's peak Kurt Russell for you?
Oh, Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, Jack something or other.
Because he's technically not the hero. Like, he's just a normal guy that stumbles upon this stuff.
If you watch, if you actually listen to any of the commentaries of that or read any of the stuff about it, they talk about that, like, he's not the hero.
Yeah.
Because if he fails his way through the whole movie, he never once succeeds. It's the other guy, it's the Chinese guy. He's might be the hero, but the studio wouldn't accept a Chinese hero, so they put on it, and he's basically the comic relief, the sidekick, but they pretend he's the hero, which I thought was really funny.
That's why I like it. Just, he's not even the hero. It's just some guy.
Yeah, because he gets like slapped about the whole movie.
Yeah.
Back to the thing.
What was your favourite?
Okay. I would actually say the thing Kurt Russell was one of the best because the costume is fantastic. I say the way they dressed him, it looks like someone that's just been sitting and going slowly mad in like the Arctic, because I think he plays the helicopter pilot, and he just is like, he's grizzled and he's like kind of like just whiskey soaked, and now he's got to deal with this, and he does rise to the occasion.
You got man crush.
Well, I mean, multiple people have talked about having man crushes on, and like he's got a fantastic beard as well. Like he can grow a beard. Like that's a good ass beard.
A beard is very nice on a man.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, he's got a big ass proper, like that is a fucking man beard.
It's a grizzly beard.
Yeah, and he was never like the biggest or most physically imposing guy, but he seemed capable. And it's like, I liked his answer to most questions was, "We should set fire to this." Like, yep, that's like, no fucking about. Like when they run out and his mates like got that, it's like, flamethrower straight away, no questions asked. That's clearly a fucking monster. I hate it when films like, oh, something's wrong with little Timmy. No, little Timmy's a monster. Flamethrow that bitch. There we go. Problem solved.
I hated it in that film when they put the infected dog in the cage with the other dogs.
Oh,
I
that
was
a
like,
good
no,
scene.
no, that's horrible. And then the one dog that was biting at the cage and making a hole in it to try and get through. I was just like, oh my God, please get through, please get through.
Things do not go well for those dogs. Yeah, that's fucked
It
up.
was
That's a
horrible.
great- The effects were fantastic. Again, considering 1982, those effects were incredible.
Well,
Yeah.
speaking of the effects, I guessed this right away because I thought about this in my work. It's the same guy who made the special effects for American Werewolf in London. Because I was like, they
That
look
makes
very
sense.
similar,
Yeah.
and it's the same guy. I don't know his name, so I do apologise. But I was like, these are great.
What you'll find is that a lot of these effects guys, what they did is they understood effects, but they also understood cameras and lighting.
Mhm.
So, like, because when I was listening to the commentary literally just before we started casting, and it was John Carpenter saying when he talked to the effects guys, like, don't worry, if we light it this way, we put this much blood in it, and you kind of shoot it for these angles, it'll look great. Because he's like, up close, he's like, it looked fucking it looked stupid and fake. But he's like, but if you film this way and do these things here, it'll look great. Also, what they used to do with things is because the cameras weren't as good, they would slather them in KY jelly, so they always look that kind of sweaty, glistening way.
Yeah.
So which makes everything look creepy and weird. But yeah. I love this movie. It's one of my favorites, and it's the deep sense of paranoia. Like, imagine being in that situation when you know for sure there's an alien. You have seen 2 aliens by this point, like, and you set fire to both of them, but it looked like a human up until you set fire to it. Like, that is fucking scary as anything. So, like, also Wilford Brimley's in it, which is weird. Like, there's Wilford Brimley. He's the doctor, in case you don't know.
Oh, right.
Fuck you, Logan. Wilford Brimley's the diabetes guy. Diabetes. And he's a doctor that smashes everything and destroys everything so nobody can escape. Which I thought, that's really clever. Like, let's just destroy it. No, this is too dangerous. So that was cool. But back to the movie. What did you guys think of the effects? Specifically, the spider head effect. How did you feel about that?
I was going to talk about something before that, but
Go ahead.
No,
go back.
The bear trap scene is like he's doing a defibrillator, and then the guy's chest opens up. I was like, holy shit, that is great.
They got an actual amputee to do that. So, like, that's why you don't see the guy's face as much. So cuts the arm off. They got an amputee, so no arms, and that's how it looks. It doesn't look fake, and they just attach the blood effects. Like, I thought, that's so clever. That's actually quite common practice in movies that were low budget, because they do it in Shaun of the Dead as well. So, like, you just find an amputee actor and, like, just, like, dress up their leg so it's all fucked up. And then, like, it looks really realistic because there's not a leg there. But I actually forgot about that scene, man. That is fucking fantastic because and it just opens up straight away.
It's so
what an
quick as
amazing
well.
gag.
That's what.
Oh, yeah.
An angle in that.
Oh, it was so clever. Like, the way they do all the kind of, like, the big scares in that movie. Like, incredible. And then, as I said later on, when they're all tied up, which is actually quite funny when they're all tied up.
I know what
The
you're
guy's
talking
beside them, and he's like, you can see the literal horror in his face. He's like, "They fucking next to me." Like, it would be funny if the fact that the guy's neck wasn't expanding and everything, he was a monster. Like, yeah, that's fucked up. But then, like, when the little, like, spider head comes out, I was like, that is fucking amazing. Like, when I was a child, I seen that, and, like, that never gave me nightmares. I just thought, that is fucking amazing. Like, I couldn't believe they could do that in a film, because obviously it's stupid enough to look fake, but also incredible. So yeah, loved that.
Have you let your kids watch it?
No, my older boy's a sensitive boy, and I think it'd freak him out. And my younger kid, I think he'd probably handle it. To be honest, he could probably watch it no bother. He's like, yeah, this is cool. I like it. He loves monsters, so he might be cool with it. But I think it might give him nightmares. But I think, like, he would be okay with it. But then later on, he would freak out. But yeah, not one for the kids. I will watch it with him in a couple of years and see how he feels about it. And then obviously the film goes on, things get much, much worse. Oh, Keith David's in the movie, which I didn't even recognise Keith David.
You know, I was thinking that because I was like, that guy sounds like Keith David. And then I think I was like, near the end, I was like, I need to search this because it's in my head in. And I was like, oh, it's Keith David. It doesn't look like him.
It's very young Keith David, which is what threw me, because obviously I remember him being older. Keith David, do you know which one that is, Sally?
No.
It's the black guy.
Okay, but what has he been in that I would have seen?
They
See, just Google Keith David, it'll be quicker. You'll see his face, like, oh, that guy. He's in loads, and he's one of those actors that's in everything. He's brilliant. He's got a great voice as well. But yeah, he's a brilliant actor. But I did not recognise him. It was when I was listening to commentary, they kept talking about Keith David. I'm like, I know Keith David. Who is that? And in my head, I was thinking Keith Carradine. And then I seen Keith David. I'm like, oh yeah, of course, that guy. He's the president if you watch Rick and Morty. That's who he voices in Rick and Morty.
I was going to say he plays himself in the Central game.
Does he?
he's just there.
He just says, I'm just Keith David, hello.
There's not a lot that I've seen. Ridic.
No. Yeah, it's very...
Keith David.
Oh, he's in Roadhouse.
Is
the old one.
Yeah. He was also in They Live? The one with it has a really long fight scene with Roddy Piper. Also a John Carpenter movie.
So what was before though? They Live or The Thing?
Oh, it must be They Live, must be after it, because that'd be like 1987, I think. Let's find out. I'm saying these years like I know these things.
1988, They Live. And the thing came out in 1982.
That was from my memory. Yeah, definitely knew that. Also, another great movie. Yeah, there you go. Keith David's in that. And that's the film. He has an incredibly long punch up with Roddy Piper, which is funny because Roddy Piper is a giant. But yeah, that was cool. Anyway, back to the thing. So special effects, fantastic. Love that.
The also, after the chair scene, and you see like he's obviously the aliens infected that guy, and he's like 6 foot, and it was like that looked scary. Like that really looked freaky. Like seeing that creature.
Oh, it's proper body horror. It's because like the bodies just explode out the way. I did also think the blood thing was so clever. Like see when they're just testing on the blood, and then it just it just goes shooting out, and you're like, ah! Then the guy's just I'm a monster. That was a great this just because you didn't know what it was going to do. Like first time I watched that, I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. I thought like it'll react in some kind of small way, and it literally jumps out of the. So funny. But yeah, put yourself in those guys' shoes. Imagine how terrifying that is.
I think that's one of the reasons. Like John Carpenter's really good with his directing because see even like Halloween and The Thing, let's say, he's really good at making like the films like slow burning and like he knows how to do a good suspense. He knows how to do it really, really well. Even lighting's a big thing for him.
Yeah. Well, I think like you're saying, yeah, it's just I'll say in his earlier movies because he continued and he made some fucking bad movies. Yeah. Ghost of Mars, looking directly at you. That's a bad film. Actually made me angry how bad that film is. But he's got this is the thing. It's like it's so paranoid, it's so claustrophobic, it's so scary because you know you're not getting away from this, and they'll look exactly like us. I suppose they kind of copied that again for the level. Like they'll look exactly like us unless you've got the special glasses. But yeah, and then at the end, obviously, there's the two guys sitting in the burning wreckage. Do you think one of them was a thing, or do you think they were?
I've got an idea, but I'll let Sally go first.
So at the end, they're both sitting in the burning wreckage. Now we know if the thing gets frozen, that it can live through that. So do you think one of them was the thing?
Yeah.
Which one?
I don't know. I don't think, I think they probably did make it one of them because the possibility of the sequel. Like, they didn't know how much it was going to make or if it was going to be, what do you call it? A flop or a...
Yeah, box office success or flop, whatever. Yeah, just successful.
So I think...
well, what happened was when you listen to Cody, John Carpenter says he wanted to make it Kurt Russell.
That's what I thought.
It was the thing, but they deliberately left it ambiguous because it was kind of scarier if you don't know. But that's why there's a lot of things that need because like they talk about it like I don't know if you're one and I don't know he didn't know if you're one, but neither of them might be, but they can't risk it, so they just both have to die. And I was like, that's That's like, heartbreaking. You're sitting there looking at this guy, and if you close your eyes and he's a monster, he's going to get you. But also, it's getting really, really cold. And but you don't know.
Yeah.
Like, you've got the flamethrower in your hands. Like, do I just set him on fire? That could be my friend, and I'm just going to burn him. So just
What would you do?
I would have died first, I assume. I would have cried. I'd have been so upset about the dogs dying. I'd have just been like, set me on fire. I don't know. In that situation, you'd like to think you'd take the hero's path, and you do it. But that guy says, like, well, I can't let you set me on fire because you might be a thing. So I don't know. Did one have a gun and one have the Kurt Russell had the flamethrower? Remember that? Did the other guy have the gun?
Aye,
Or was it
Keith
just
David
like
had a gun. I think he had a pistol.
right? So
But there's one thing it kind of. So I was watching this like late at night just in my bed, and the thing that kind of got to me about the film was like, oh, this is really like it shivered my blood a wee bit. You see when the lights turned off, and then Kurt Russell says, "Oh, he's turning off the power so he can sleep." I don't know why that got to me because I was like, that's so creepy.
yeah. It's like, man, it's just great. It's one of my favorite horror movies of all time. And on that note, box office success or flop,
Success.
Logan?
I already know this, so it was.
It's a flop.
Aye.
Widely derided. But critically, nobody liked it. Do you know why that was, Sally? It came out 2 weeks after E.T.
Oh.
But
So
then,
people had seen this heartwarming movie about a little alien that came from outer space and made friends with these kids. Then the next alien movie that came out was The Thing. And they're like, what the fuck is this? This isn't a friendly little turd.
Oh.
This is like a fucking monster that's going to destroy humankind. So that always stuck with me. I thought it was very funny.
but then
Like,
what's
what
more-
timing?
What's more iconic, E.T. or The Thing?
Oh, I mean, that's a tough one, man. I mean, E.T. holds a
E.T.
lot.
The
I mean,
Thing.
people love E.T. I think like the thing stood the test of time. Like no one's tried to make another E.T. movie. I don't think.
No.
Well,
No, they haven't.
E.T.
I mean, he
dies.
has been in Star Wars.
That's true. It wasn't Star Wars, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
That
true.
was more like a reference as opposed
Cameo.
to. It'd be great if there'd been like one of the Imperial kind of Senate was also a thing monster. She's like, rah!
Was he not a part? Was he not a part of the council? The E.T.?
It was in the Galactic Senate. There's a little ET thing.
Nation.
ETs or ET
Yeah.
and going, rah! But it'd be much funnier if there was a thing and one just like some fucked up humans just like taking over the other ones. That'd be great.
On the dog.
Yeah. One dog screaming in agony.
Yeah, I think E.T. is probably more iconic because, like, my kids now still watch that and still enjoy it.
Wait until they
So
see
I
the
think-
thing. That'll be more
Yeah.
memorable.
Yeah, because I'll be fucking terrified.
There was
Yeah.
one thing that I didn't know about. Kurt Russell did basically all his own stunts and worked closely with John Carpenter with this.
Because I mean, at the time he just came off the back of Escape from New York, and he was quite like a physical guy, So he was also at that stage in his career where he's probably quite happy to do his own stunts. It's only when actors get a bit older and they're like, "I'm not doing this anymore." Like Daniel Craig got blew up in one of the Bond movies. Like, I'm not doing one stunts anymore because like I can't hear out my right ear anymore because you put me so close to an explosion. Also, like there's like, but yeah, at that stage, and also it's the 80s. Like he was talking about how they got to use the flamethrower on set, and like you wouldn't get to do that
my
anymore
God, yeah.
because you can't just be
No.
flamethrowing things. If someone had fell over or tripped or done that, it has set fire to the cast. Which I thought, yeah, that sounds about right. But like in 1982, they're like, oh, we were steaming, just like out in like 20 below zero, like just running about. I'm like, you all could have died really easily, and like they're like, yeah, we could have. It was very funny. So yeah, but it's not like it is these days. We've had too many deaths on set from Alec Baldwin just wildly firing at people to allow this kind of fuckery anymore.
Well, I mean, in this podcast episode, we spoke about too many dog deaths, which I've just realised. Ginger Snaps and The Thing.
That's true. Yeah.
It was a
Two-
theme,
two of
apparently.
the 3 movies. Yeah. We're sorry we killed the dog is the name of this podcast.
I think we need to watch John Wick after this.
well, I actually went to watch John with my youngest son, and I was like, so I prepare him for the dog day because he loves dogs. And I was like, look, a dog's going to die in this movie. He's like, yeah, I'll be okay. But see, when the puppy died, he was fucking he cried like every 10 minutes for the rest of the movie. And I had to switch it off. He's like, I can't watch this, Dad. The dog died. I'm like, all right. It's like, it was a pretend. Like the dog's not really dead. The dog's okay. And I was like, how long ago was this film made? I don't know if that dog is okay anymore. Actually, that puppy might be dead as well. So I won't mention that to him. But now whenever I tell him to watch the film, he's like, is there any dogs in it? I'm like, yes. Like, did he die? I'm like, I can't watch this movie. Dogs don't often die in movies.
One of the last dog death scenes was Halloween, I'm sure. Like the first of the new trilogy. Because there's literally a scene that's just Michael Myers has just killed this dog and that was it.
Sorry, just 2 seconds, guys.
Got some abusing someone online.
No, I'm just changing the actual. Right, it's locked that nobody else can actually just wander into the chat. So, sorry, Wally. If you watch the channel, you'd see what's happening there. But you don't just wander into the chat if you feel like it.
Oh,
Probably fucks up the viewing as well.
That's alright. It was only a second.
Yeah, disconnected him straight away. Like, you're going. I was actually going to block him, but that seemed a bit much.
Was that?
Not seen that guy.
Yeah, especially after he's broke his leg.
Else we talk
Was he? Oh, poor Wally. What we say, mate? So that was it for this thing. The Thing is one of my favourite movies of all time. I actually put that above Alien Romulus, but to this day, The Thing, and Terminator 2 are 2 movies I can watch over and over again. Right. Also, the first Predator movie. All great films.
Well, I guess I don't know if you've got Quentin Sleep anyway for the thing. What is your favourite all-time horror film?
Ooh. See, I'm not a big horror guy, but I guess it would be something like The Thing, because that's a proper body horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, The Thing. I'll go with that.
You kind of like the sci-fi alien kind of genre.
I do prefer like sci-fi. That is my genre of choice.
Mm-hmm.
Anything with aliens in it. Growing up, that's all I wanted to watch. Spaceships, aliens, all that kind of thing. Whether it's horror, whether it's like an adventure movie, that's what I liked. So I went from Star Wars to The Thing. As long as the spaceships in it are aliens, I'm all in.
So what about you?
So I like sort of ghosty ones. So I know most people really hated Paranormal Activity. Like the first one, after the first one, it kind of got a bit silly. But I really enjoyed the first one. I liked like being scared in that way.
It's horror movies tonight.
Yeah.
Night, love you.
And I actually prefer older horror movies to newer ones. I find them scarier.
Oh. The problem I had with the Paranormal Activity, like you said, the first one had its kind of moments, and then as it went on, it became so formulaic that it became like I'd sit and watch them and be like, no, because I used to have to watch a lot of horror movies in the kids' home, and I could tell people when the beats are going to be just by the music score. And I was like, yeah, this isn't even like trying. This is like, here, what's the formula? Like, make that. So yeah, what about yourself, Logan?
I'm stuck between a few, right? Because I like more horror.
Do you put slasher movies in with the horror movies? Because slasher movies, I feel, are like a subset of horror movie, but they're not scary. It's for the deaths you watch them.
I would still count.
Because it's like your Friday the 13th, your Nightmare on Elm Streets. They're good because they've got like they're scary, but they're scary because there's a thing that's coming after you that you can't stop.
So,
but like, are they actually scary, or is it just really funny when people get minced by like Freddy Krueger?
So, I've got 3. So I'm stuck between
3.
Halloween, right, the original, but I mean that's generic. I feel everybody and their granny's loving Halloween. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, just because the ending, like you don't like I feel like you'd freak out on like is she actually got to survive or no? Because it's just so quick. It's like so fast paced at the same time. And Candyman, I feel like Candyman's just such a great kind of boogeyman kind of tale story horror, if you want to call it that.
That's interesting. Candyman's actually not a film I've been thought about for a long time. The Texas Chainsaw and Halloween, I recognise them as good movies, but it's like, again, because there's a lot of miles in those movies now, it's like I feel like other things came out after it, but I guess I definitely seem to prefer the things that are more like horrific. Like if you watch your oh Christ, what's the guy that does the body horror movies? He's old guy. He can't leave his house now because of emphysema. No, people don't say Cormac. That's not it.
We actually spoke about this, I know, didn't we?
Yeah, that's terrible. I forgot his name.
Oh
That's
my
ridiculous.
god, what's his name? David Lynch?
David, no. Body horror movies.
I don't know if it's the same guy we actually
Right.
spoke about.
It will be. David Cronenberg. Cronenberg movies.
No, we didn't.
There we go. You're not talking about Cronenberg movies. Cronenberg does like the terrifying horror movies. Like these things go wrong. Like your body starts like changing in such a way that you can't stop it. So like it's a Rick and Morty reference, and they'll say, "Oh, it became Cronenberg," because it's like all the like their bodies melt and everything and become like monstrous. But he done lots and lots of like terrible things.
I see done the Fly, didn't he?
Fly, yeah, is a fucking great example. Oh, that's actually a really good movie as well. Actually, The Fly's a really good horror movie. Because that's fucked up. And again, it's really fucked up horror. You know, it's like you've became this, and there's nothing you can do to stop it, and you know it's painful and it's upsetting to look at, but it's there.
Do you prefer the original or the remake of The Fly?
By the remake, do you mean the Jeff Goldblum one?
Yeah.
Yes, I do. That is a great movie. I've not seen the original one for a long, long time. I actually think I've seen it on Channel 4 during the day because it's not considered scary anymore. He also done Scanners, which I forgot existed. That's a hell of a movie.
Cronenberg?
Weirdly, he done A History of Violence. Have you seen that movie?
No.
You should watch The History of Violence, and it's about it's Viggo Mortensen. A little while after he'd done the Lord of the Rings movies, and he plays like a gangster that's like kind of like snuck off and living a quiet life, and he gets discovered, and it is amazing. I will only say one thing about it: the ending sequence, which I'm not going to talk about, is fucking fantastic, and it's so uncomfortable because he's got to do what he's doing in a specific way, and it's like, oh, this is just upsetting, and it's weird for everyone watching it. Well, I feel like we should actually watch A History of Violence and talk about that. That's a great movie. Sam, are you still in the chat? Have you seen A History of Violence? You should come and talk about
that. My mind went blank because when you talked about that, but I was thinking about something else. I don't know if we can talk about it.
What is it?
The Menendez case. I don't know if you've been watching.
Well, that the brothers thing? Is that thing that's on Netflix now? I've not watched it. Is it any good?
It's heavily dramatized. There's some stuff that I'm like, is that true though? Because obviously, the director didn't get any of the Menendez brothers involved with the show. It is definitely dramatized.
I think that's Falcon in the chat saying History of Violence. Watch Ed Harris do an interview on it. Alright, okay, we'll watch that.
We're gonna get him on eventually, Falcon. There's a lot of film locations. Just thought I may as well put them out there. From real.
Just laughing at Falcon's next thing. Also, highlight of History of Violence was Maria Bella getting pumped. I didn't remember that. I just remember the last sequence because I thought, oh my goodness.
He knows his stuff.
I know he's. When I bumped into him the other day, he was telling me that he's shouted at the podcast a few times when we get things factually wrong, which I thought was really funny.
He messaged me, he's like, no, that's wrong, mate. I'm like,
come on the podcast and correct us. Oh, a guy that we know from outside of this, so you'll get to meet him. He's going to be in the podcast at some point.
Okay.
And so Sim has not seen History of Violence, which surprises me, Sim, because it's a good film. I actually think that's going to be my suggestion for next time. I'll actually watch it tonight after we finish the podcast.
I was going to say, Sally, you seen the Monsters show? The Menendez.
Oh yeah.
Case.
That seems like your kind of thing, Sally. You like watching things about serial killers and that, don't you? You being a woman, all that's what you seem to like.
Yeah. Is this the new thing on Netflix?
Aye. So this was season 2, obviously, because Dama was the first season. So
yeah. No, I've not seen it.
It's interesting.
Is it good?
Aye and no. Like there's bits that, like they try and make it comedic, and I'm like, this was a genuine real case, and you're trying to make.
They killed people. Don't be funny. Yeah.
It's a bit weird the way they try to make it funny. But I think this is the case is going to get re-reviewed because of the show. But Netflix made a documentary with the actual brothers to tell their side of the story. But I mean, people already know the story, so it's got to be interesting the way that comes out.
Talking about another.
Is it not all
film.
coming out at once? Or is it like one episode a week or something?
No, that's all it. It's all it.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
Have either of you seen the film Upgrade? It's a Blumhouse film.
Loved it.
That is a fucking banging movie. That's kind of body horror-esque as well.
That's full budget as well.
I see when I seen the budget for it, I could not believe it. It was so cheap, and what they do in that movie is great. The guy kind of looks like Tom Hardy, and throughout the movie, I'm like, is that Tom Hardy? It's not Tom Hardy, but he looks kind of like Tom Hardy. And I don't know if they've done that on purpose, but it's called Upgrade, and I think that's my next two picks for the movies we need to watch. It's History of Violence and Upgrade, because Upgrade's fucking fantastic.
It was actually originally maybe called STEM as well.
That makes sense, yeah, because that's what the computer's called, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, such a good movie. I might have to watch that again as well. Oh.
So what is our picks for next week? No, next week or next time.
They've got to be Halloweeny, haven't they?
Oh yeah, because we're still in the Halloween.
Well, History of Violence is pretty scary, and Upgrade is also, it's a sci-fi movie, but it's kind of horror elements to it because some fucked up shit happens in it. Actually, yeah, some real fucked up shit happens in that movie.
Oh,
so it's fucked up. Does that count as Halloween? Does that have to? No, well, fuck it, whatever.
I mean, you could still do it. It's up to you. What we picking then?
So this is a really like out of left field pick. Okay. Have either of you seen Coraline?
You know what?
No, but I've heard it's creepy and weird, and I should maybe watch it.
That is my pick, Coraline. I know it's a kids' film, but you can watch it with your kids. Logan, you can watch it by yourself.
You can find some kids and watch them.
But yeah, let me know what you think of this film as a children's film.
What about you? Are you picking up
Coraline?
I am going to say, I think History of Violence might be quite a long movie, and I always think that's a big ask to say. Let's just say, History of Violence runtime. Okay, no, you know what? It's only an hour. It's only 96 minutes. That's not bad. History of Violence is my pick.
Okay.
I thought it was a 2-hour. In my mind, it was like a 2-hour movie. So I don't think. I think see, we try and keep the films like at a decent runtime because, like, see, if you pick like a 3-hour movie, that's a big ask.
You know what?
Because we're busy.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it just because it's generic Halloween.
Ooh. Okay, so one actual Halloween movie that we've all seen. So even if we forget to watch it, we can blag it.
Because I mean, I could have picked one of the terrible ones just for a laugh, but I can't force myself to watch the terrible ones.
I'll put it, see if you'd picked Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, I would not have watched it.
Don't even get me started on it. People know how much I hate that one.
I'm changing my pick.
No.
I've watched it myself, and it's one of those things you watch and you're like, the fuck am I watching? Like, why is this movie so bad? Why are you so bad, movie? You say,
it's like it's the protagonist.
It doesn't answer you back.
It doesn't answer you back. It should. He's a big pedo bastard.
Season of the Witch, the guy, the hero, he's literally like a school teacher and he sleeps with his students. And he's like,
oh yeah,
what age are you?
I've listened to a few podcasts they talk because podcasts love to review that because it's so bad. And it's like the guy's like some weird like alcoholic guy in his mid-40s that's like kind of like no way attractive. Yet all these really young women are just throwing themselves at him the whole movie. You're kind of like, did he direct this movie? Because there's a lot of women that seem to find him irresistible, and that doesn't seem likely. But you know, that's that. Okay, so we're doing History of Violence, Halloween, and Coraline.
Yeah.
I need to start writing these down because you know a movie I want people to watch that I have not talked about for ages is Kubo and the Two Strings. Have ever watched that?
What's that?
That is, I I don't even know. I think it's stop motion animation, and it is just one of the most beautiful and saddest movies I've ever seen. And like, I watched it with my missus and my kids, and they were like, "This is bad," because it's so emotional the whole way through. I was like, yeah, but it made me feel a lot of things I don't know how to feel. And it doesn't have like a traditional ending. It has an ending and its things are resolved, but it's not like resolved in a way that like you'd expect. And you're like, oh man, that's like super emotional. So yeah. But that's me thinking of movies for the future. I'll probably forget we even talked about this.
I already have one for, because we're also getting near the Thanksgiving season. Although we're not doing a Thanksgiving special, but I thought this one would be really good. But I'll leave that until after we've got the next
leave it for
episode.
surprises.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we do try and do, we do try and do seasonal stuff, but do we really? So if we're doing this again in a few weeks,
so it's the 31st. It's literally on Halloween.
Oh, the 31st. Okay, well that's fine then. So we're aiming for the 31st, which is Halloween. So let's just keep it horror. We'll do Halloween because that's good.
Next minute, you just hear people chatting the doors.
And the one I'm talking about is Cronenberg, who does horror, but not this movie. It's not a horror movie, but it's still fucked up.
I mean, you can change it if you want, but it's up to you.
Yeah, History of Us is a great movie. We should watch that. Right. We should try and like have at least one good movie when we pick them. Yeah, so the movie I pick will be good, and then you two will pick movies. No, I've heard Caroline's very good. I'm actually very excited to watch it. Was that not like who was it directed? That was like Tim Burton or something weird.
No, people keep thinking it's Tim Burton. It's not even Tim Burton.
Is it not?
Aye, because I've had this conversation so many times now. I think it's just the same art style in a way.
Henry Selick. Oh,
Tom Selleck's brother.
Neil Gaiman was based on something he wrote. That's cool. Right, Henry Selick done things like James and the Giant Peach. That makes sense. Monkey Bone. We wouldn't hold that against him.
Monkey Bone. I loved that film as a kid. It was funny.
Okay. Night Before Christmas, James and the Giant Peach, Monkey Bone Crowd, and Wendell and the Wild. What's that? That's just a couple of years ago. Oh, that's a... Okay, yeah, same thing. Right. Anyway, that's fine.
Should we wrap up the new?
Yeah. If there's we need to cover, now we're good.
Nice.
Right. There'll be gaming stuff over the next few weeks with the sanity check stuff because we do that. I still run my games on Tuesday. I've not done a Halloween thing this year because the week I normally write it, I was sick. And then I didn't write anything. And I tried to cheat and do ChatGPT to help me write stuff, but it just came across as kind of generic, so I just didn't use it. I might buy some Call of Cthulhu thing, and I'd like look at that doggy. Because Scott does the Call of Cthulhu thing, but I think I could do it as well. And I might do something, but I don't know.
Call of Cthulhu is a brilliant game.
Call of Cthulhu is brilliant, and that's why I want to do it. And I'd like to get some specific people into it. I think Sally would do an excellent Call of Cthulhu. I think Sim would do an excellent Call of Cthulhu. Logan can fuck right off because he would kill himself in Call of Cthulhu being silly. Yeah, because you would do the thing you shouldn't do. So I might try and work something out with that in the next couple of days, and then try and contact the people that I want to do it. And I think Leon would be good in that as well, actually. But we'll see. I'll try and work something out. That's it. That's for me.
For your socials, which is also under the bottom of the stream, and also I give you a shout out for Callum. So go follow him on Instagram because he made the artwork for this podcast.
Our thumbnail for this episode.
Yeah, thumbnail. That was it. Thumbnail.
Well done, Callum.
Hey, Callum. Thanks, man.
His Instagram's Callum Macinnes is art, but also it'll be in the description on YouTube and Spotify. So yeah.
Have you still been sticking stuff on TikTok, like when me and you argue over nothing?
Yeah, I'm going to try and do me out that, but it's super hard to do bits by bits. But we're getting pretty good views on TikTok as well.
Oh yeah.
But
I know the one which is the one that got good views. Was it me and you arguing about something, or was it when I forgot to watch the right film?
No, it was something else. It was talk about subtitles. We'll talk about the subtitles, and that got like about 1,000 views or something.
That's hilarious. So, I'm just gonna check.
I was like 1,400 or something. It was at last.
Yeah, so that sounds right. Weirdly, we only have 12 followers, which is kind of rubbish.
Yeah, so go follow us. We want some great content.
We've got 1,800 views. All argue about so when we talk about subtitles.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
But
you'll need to use your hashtags better, Logan.
Sure.
Fuck, you only had 3 on that one.
you don't spam them. Right, I'm gonna close this half. Right, let's say goodbye. Let's all wave.